Welcome to the Noble Gold Podcast, where each week the latest precious metals trends and alternative investments are presented to you to help create the foundation for your financial success. Listen in as some of today's brightest entrepreneurs share how they've strategically navigated investments that have changed lives forever. It's time to bring a little wealth into your life. Here's your host, Brad Dalius.
Welcome into the Noble Gold Podcast. We're joined as always by Noble Gold President Colin Plume, and today we're excited to be talking with Joe Piscopo. Joe has had a successful career in comedy, being a part of Saturday Night Live. He's had starring roles in Hollywood as an actor in films such as Wise Guys, Johnny Dangerously, and more. He can currently be heard as the host of The Joe Piscopo Show on 970 AM The Answer out of New York. Joe, thanks for joining us today on the podcast.
Thanks, Brad. Great to be here. Appreciate it, man. And Colin, to you, sir. Thanks. This coin is beautiful. I'm holding it in my hand as I speak, and people are buying it, and we're loving it. And I'm such a patriotic guy. We appreciate you, putting your heart into it, Colin. And Brad, great to chat with you this morning.
Well, that's why we put the coin together. Was people were wanted something for the president. A lot of the coins that are sold out there aren't really made of any precious metal. A lot of them are just tokens. They're either plated with gold or don't have any metal at all. And our coins are, if they're silver, they're actual silver 0.999. If they're gold, they're 0.999 of gold, 24 karat. Yeah. So we wanted to make something that was authentic as our president, and so that's why we made the coin, and we appreciate you talking about it and letting people know. And obviously, it's a great gift for the holidays for people that want something that if they've already bought dad a tie or grandpa a tie, this is something that you can buy that holds some value. Yeah. It's not a tchotchke gift that you're gonna throw away, which I think a lot of people appreciate.
It's so true, and I always want to give it to my liberal friends. See, I think it would be nice to just kind of, you know how you do the chat. I say this on the when we are telling folks about it. You put it, how they do a challenge coin, Colin. You put it in right in the palm, shake their hand, and they're not going to know what it is, and then they're going to look. There's a picture of President Trump, and you can say, "Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, God bless you, God bless America." I love it, man. That's what I'm going to put. Plus, I got to get one for my cousin Paulie because he supported the president from day one. So it is. It's very, very. Who was the artist? Can I ask, Colin? Who was the artist that designed this thing? Because it really is pretty, man.
We had a few artists come together and put it on paper. And the first coin that we released sort of came out quick, and the demand was bigger than we expected. And then the second coin took us about a year to put together, and we had 3 or 4 different artists. The concept I put together from start to finish. I wanted to do something that showed the strength of the president, obviously, and coming in hopefully into his second term here. We wanted to show that, he's really the leading force that we need in this kind of ever-changing world. So we wanted a coin that would kind of give that image of him and show and have the flag and really what he's about, which is doing what he says he's going to do, which is unusual in politics. So we came up with a concept, and there was a few different artists that were put behind it, and there was a lot of eyes on this coin to make it look the way that it did, and I think it turned out great. Joe, I was going to ask you, with you moving from the acting world into radio, this medium, and being in a very liberal Hollywood type of place, and then moving over into radio and talking about, what you talk about on a day-to-day basis. Who was your sort of model? Was it Ronald Reagan, or who was someone that you kind of looked up to that was able to make this transition from, Hollywood into conservative news and politics?
It was President Reagan, because it was true. I was on the on Saturday Night Live, and of course I was doing the impression of Ronald Reagan. And then I didn't hear anything, and it was fun. It wasn't mean-spirited, but we had fun with it. And then I got an invitation to the White House back then, to the Reagan White House. I'm going like, whoa, what's this all? Because I was a Democrat. Most of my life I was a lifelong Democrat, before I saw the light. No, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to say that. Hold on. I'm sorry. So now I'm just more, I'm an independent. I'm an independent, more libertarian than anything else, man. And I think both parties get carried away, but I'm not a patriot. I'm a true patriot. But I was a Democrat then, and I said, well, why am I being invited to the White House? And so I went down, and they had a state dinner, and it was for the Italians from Italy, were in. All the officials were there. And there I was in the White House, and it was after dinner. And then I went into the room off the East Room, and there was a fireplace burning, and there was President Reagan. So now I'm a kid. If I'm 28 years old, So I go over to the President of the United States, and here's the guy I've been satirizing, for years now. Right. Saturday Night Live. Right. And I went over. I said, Mr. President, that fire was beautiful. Perfect setting. I said, Mr. President, I'm Joe Piscopo. I'm a cast member on Saturday Night Live. It's an honor to meet you, sir. And he shook my hand. I felt, and you could judge a person by his or her handshake. And you could. President Reagan was so genuine. It was such a warm handshake. His whole body language, his demeanor was so welcoming and authentic. And I held it for a second, and then I froze. I didn't know what to say. So I say, I swear to God, Colin, I go, nice fire, Mr. President. The fireplace behind him. What am I going to say, man? I didn't know what to say. So he, you know what he said to me? He knew I was like kind of nervous. He goes, well, Joe, we got people to do that for us. Like that. He goes, and I went, man, then. And I walked away, and right there in that minute, whatever it was, it really changed my life. Meeting the Gipper, meeting Ronald Reagan, meeting the president, and I said, wow, this guy really is authentic. And then as I turned away in bewilderment and inspiration, there was Nancy right there in my face. She said 2 words. She looked at me, man. She said, hello, Joe. And I realized then why I was there, and I put 2 and 2 together. Had to be Mr. Sinatra, who was always very kind to me when I did the Frank Sinatra impression on SNL. And I know that Mr. Sinatra talked to Nancy Reagan, and then he said, get the kid, get this little Italian punk from Jersey, get him down to me, Ronnie, and, let him see what the boss is really like. And that's exactly what happened. And that's so strategic, the way Mr. Sinatra always thought, And that's exactly what happened. Ever since then, I said, you know what? I didn't see the initiatives of John Kennedy's. I'm a Kennedy Democrat of JFK's initiatives. Put forth, and so that really was the inspiration to me. And then when we came to Salem Media, and I got to meet great folks like Mike Gallagher and Dennis Prager and Dr. Gorka, and Larry Elder and the crew over here. We're patriots, man. We're not any with any political affiliation. We're just patriots. We believe in the country. We believe we're one nation under God. And is that bad to say nowadays? Because if you say that, you're like vilified or you're not verified on Twitter. But we're one nation under God, and God we trust. And you know what? God bless America, man. So I think it really was from. You're absolutely right, Colin. From President Reagan himself.
So Nancy and Ron brought you in there they were trying to put a little fear into you. That's why they brought you in front of the fire. That was literally they were putting you in front of the fire.
They really literally put me in front of the fire. But I think it was so well done because I kept thinking, why? Here I am. They knew I was a lifelong Democrat, and I would go out with some of the, the blue, remember Blue Dogs, and this, I believe there's some around now, but the party will not recognize them. The common sense conservative Blue Dog Democrat. That's what I was, and I supported Bill Bradley, and Senator Lautenberg and the guys of the day, they must just go down, let them meet Ron. And then what was cool when I was down at the Reagan White House is when I was on the South Lawn before I met the president. I saw Ed Meese come out, man, and I'm watching Ed Meese, and I'm going, wow, that's a serious dude, And then who steps out? Al Haig, man, and I'm looking at General Haig. I go, and I'm a father of my first child, Joey. He was a baby at the time, and I remember distinctly thinking, you know what? We're in good shape. We got these guys running the White House, man, we're in good shape because I wouldn't mess with them in a million years, you know.
Exactly.
It gave me you know what I mean? It gave me a sense of security, man. And you know, I was always an Al Haig fan, especially I'm in charge. That's my kind of guy. What am I going to tell you? You're like, you know, and that's the way President Trump's very, very similar in that regard.
Yeah. Have you met the president?
I've known him 40 years, on and off. Worked with President Trump. I worked with. Oh, please! I know. I would meet Donald Trump when he would campaign for Mayor Giuliani, and I was just talking about it this morning to the boys in the studio, and I would meet. There was Regis Philbin. It was Donald Trump. It was Mayor Giuliani, and there were others. Great New York, John Catsimatidis, all these great New Yorkers who really, and the power of New York, you know. And then they would bring me in as the Jersey guy entertainer, and I would we'd do fundraisers for Mayor Giuliani when I was running for mayor, and I would always see Donald Trump around. Then we would do so many benefits. They call me Joey Benefit. You got a charity, I got a tuxedo. I come early, I stay late. I'm Joey Benefit. What am I going to tell you? I can't say no. I'm the spokesperson for the Boys and Girls Clubs in Jersey, you know? So there you go. You're going to do a benefit here, you're going to do a benefit there. So we would do a lot of benefits, and at every benefit, every high-end benefit in New Jersey, Melania and Donald would show up. And I'm telling you, and I was with my wife at the time, Kimberly, who was just what she was doing with me, I have no idea, Colin, because she was really, really beautiful. But when I saw Melania come in with all that grace and all that warmth and all that elegance, and then you see Donald coming in, you know, the Donald at the time. They were committed to the charity. The Trumps dedicated the Bedminster property, for example, for the charity. And this is how they know them. And then cut to right before he jumped into the race, we had a Saturday Night Live reunion, and I was with the gal I was with, and we were getting ready for the show to go live. It's about 11:20 or so at night, or whatever it was. It was a primetime show, I believe, back then. And then the girl, she nudges me with her elbow, and she points over there. She goes, "There's Donald and Melania." So I bend over and I look, and there's Melania, and Melania waves to me, right? Melania waves. What does she do? She nudges the Donald with her elbow. You know, like this is a regular couple. Like, Donald, Joe's over there. And then Donald, "Hey, how are you?" And then I've worked for him. And I may tell you, in a career, you have good times, you have bad times. You have ups and you have downs. During some of those down periods, I would always go to one of the casinos that the now president owned then at the time. And he always would just say, "Whatever Joe needs, take care." You don't forget that. You don't forget that loyalty. And when I go on any Trump property, Donald Trump property, they're so loyal. So I've known him for a lifetime, and that's why I supported him from day one. That's why he's been doing such a great job that I tell everybody. I tell people, if you don't like him, that hate that they have, relax. We're in good shape. Everything's okay, because I've known the man, and I've seen his successes, and I've seen his heart for like 40 years now, man.
Yeah. And did you, I mean, obviously most people were shocked that when he got elected. Were you surprised of the power of Twitter that, in my opinion, you know, changed the outcome of this election? Were you surprised by that, or did you always kind of think it was a pretty powerful media tool?
Yeah, I was not surprised by the way the president used it, because I know he's the master marketer. He knew exactly what he was doing. And again, I say this objectively. Colin, I'm telling you, Brad, I'm telling you, I always tell my friends, and when we go on Fox News, everybody relax. We're all in this together. Please put aside the divide. Please put aside the hate. It's okay. We're all in this together. And I say this objectively, that the president is always a step ahead of everybody else. This president, when you see a camera shot, for example, outside the Oval Office, and you catch him, trust me, he planned that. He knows exactly where the camera is, what's going on, what the curtain looks like, where he's standing, how he's standing. He's a step ahead of and the media, God bless him, they have no idea that he plays. And I say this respectfully, and I'm really impressed with this. He plays the media. He's like a marionette. He knows exactly what they're doing, and they go hook, line, and sinker, man. And it happens on Twitter. He'll say something, but he knows exactly what he's doing. Is it impulsive? I think it's more a concerted effort, and more being the media master that he is. And again, I have to say to my friends, listen, that maybe have some hate in their heart, just to loosen up a little bit, because it's all for the good of country. I mean, it's all for the. Am I right, Brad, when I say that? Huh? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's amazing to me. And I guess a question for you, Joe, is did you ever think we'd come to a point in time where we would have a president in the White House and the press would just be relentless, right? Just relentless on the negativity. Did you ever think we'd get to a point with that? Because it's so unreal, as you guys both know.
Yeah, I have to tell you, though, I remember I was a Reagan Democrat, and then after meeting him, really, it turned me into more of a libertarian conservative more than anything else. But they went after President Reagan in a horrible way as well. Not as bad as this, you're right. And then, don't forget, I'm old. I remember Richard Nixon. I remember as a kid, as I was in college, and I was in high school. And then I said, why are they going after Richard Nixon like this? I mean, so if it's not of their political mindset, they're going to go after them. But this president, you're absolutely right, more than anything else, because what I make it a point on my radio show on AM 970, The Answer in New York, the flagship station for all this Salem media, I make sure I say the president today, as we speak, he makes animal cruelty a federal crime. He did the First Step Initiative, helping criminals wrongly accused, or the criminals that shouldn't have that long stay in jail. This is a Republican president doing these things. He started opportunity zones where I waited throughout the whole last administration in the United States that somebody goes help the inner city, because that's been my passion, helping the stressed communities of America. And now President Trump has opportunity zones with Mr. Mike Lindell, with Dr. Ben Carson, and with a group of pastors strategically placed around the country. So that never gets reported. That, you know what? You're right. I've never seen that, and that stuns me that they don't put. So when he goes to Dover late the other night, and he takes two of our warriors, our hero warriors, killed in Afghanistan, and he goes there and he goes with Melania and he brings John Voight with him. Where was it on the news? So that derangement syndrome that they talk about, that really is. That's very up front and center, and that is unsettling, because I've seen it before with other conservative presidents. But you're right, Brad. Nothing like this. I'm keep hoping that they're going to let up. But I better not hold my breath, man. Huh?
No, I don't think that's going to end anytime soon. I think it's going to be pretty consistent, especially with the election coming next year. It's going to be a turbulent time for everybody. And a lot of people, Joe, have been asking me, because we help people with precious metals and gold and silver, and asking where the market's going to go. And obviously no one has any prediction, but we talk about diversification, and it's hard to think about diversification when you have the stock market at an all-time high. People just think it'll never fall. It's something that will go up forever. And I know, you mentioned your career has kind of gone up and down, and in terms of just, obviously SNL, and then, the transition. Now you have the show, the radio show that's, rocking, and the ratings are through the roof. What is your take just in terms of, have you been a pretty conservative investor? You don't have to give any advice, obviously, but do you have any philosophy on investing that you've kind of lived by?
This is the time that the money is loosened up, and it's only because it's under President Trump. And I see it in my business. I'm a small businessman. I go out, we do the radio show, and then I'm always out doing a personal appearance. Every weekend, this week I'm going to Kansas City. We perform in Kansas City. Week after, I go to Oakland, California. I just got back from Beverly Hills, Newport Beach, actually, where we did a big show. And I go out and I do the whole big show, if I may, guys. And by the way, I'd love to see you guys at a show, joepiscopo.us. You can see what my schedule is. And I go out. I tell you, business has never been better, man. This has never been better. Is that a coincidence? Is it a coincidence? People want you going. Plus, when we chat with you, Colin, we're chatting with you and Brad, and we're telling about this Trump coin 2020, and then either I go on Fox News. They forget we're a big audience that believe in this country, that love this country, that believe we're one nation under God. That's a big. They come out to the shows, man. So I said now's the time. And Jamie Dimon, from J.P. Morgan said this economy is so strong it could last 100 years. He said that's him saying that, not me. Yeah. I'm telling you.
Right.
And you want to know the truth? And I have to tell you this too, guys, because I get fired up. Is I've never seen New York, the success of New York like I have now. And Mayor Giuliani kicked it off. God bless him. Now you should see the skyline when you come to the city. And my investor friends tell me it's because when President Trump got elected, they knew they could now release their money. They're not afraid anymore. You could spend because you have a businessman in the White House. And that's an objective observation. Everybody, and I'm telling you, I'd be afraid. And I always say to my Democratic friends and my liberal friends, just, you know what? I don't get mad. I don't get mad that you hate. I said, it's okay. God bless you. I feel for you. And I'm objective in my observation of the success of the Trump administration. Show me something better. Give me an initiative that will help the country. And did you imagine if Elizabeth Warren gets in? Colin, Elizabeth Warren or Bernie gets in? You and I, man, you got to move. I'm talking about moving out of the country. I'll be with Cher and going to Jupiter. All right, she never went there.
So you're right. It's the economy is and money is affordable, for investment, which is good. Loans are cheap. I mean, these are all the drivers that have been pushing the economy for a long time, and hopefully will continue. And pulling back regulation and allowing business owners to invest and create jobs and take risks. That's what this our economy is based on. Is business owners have to feel comfortable to invest in infrastructure and kind of move in that direction, and hope that maybe in 10 or 15 years on some of these larger businesses that they'll make money. Companies like Tesla and these ones that really aren't profitable, but hopefully will be profitable because they're thinking much farther ahead. And I think that that has a lot to do with how the administration deals with regulation. I think the more open it is, the more people are willing to take those chances. So, and kind of, I know you're busy, and we have Thanksgiving coming up here, and you were talking about the Boys and Girls Club. So maybe you could just talk about that, because there's lots of charities that are out there, and Boys and Girls Club is one that's been, around for a long time. And, for our audience, it's something that people remember. But what would you say is the Boys and Girls Club is doing today? How have they changed and kind of modified with the times? And where do you think it's why have you kind of aligned yourself with that nonprofit?
Well, I was it's hard to believe, not a great kid. I just was, and I had everything. I had great parents. Grandparents came from another country. They came to America. They learned the language. They learned the laws of the United States. And I was a punk. My mother says I was naughty. That's the word she uses. So back then I was naughty. And by the way, you know what I mean? And by today's standards, I was like an angel. But so I felt for the kids who are put into areas because it's not by their own doing, whether the parents were incarcerated, whether the parents were drug addicted. And so I met a friend, a long story short, I met a friend who's in the nonprofit arena helping out the Boys and Girls Clubs. And we went to Newark, and this was over 25 years ago. And he said, Joe, what do you want to do? I said, well, let's put a gym up, because I was working out at the time, and maybe the kids will go into the gym as opposed to stealing cars. And this was in the city of Newark, New Jersey, hometown of my parents, where the crime was high. And we went in and we emboldened children with positive media, started a foundation called the Positive Impact Foundation. I melded that into the Boys and Girls Club, because then I met one kid, man, and in Newark at the Newark Detention Center, and he was in an orange jumpsuit. I'll never forget when I first started going out, and the police took me around, and the great Newark Police Department. And then I went up to this kid, and I said, hey, what are you in here for, man? And he says, hey, Mr. Piscopo. He goes, well, homicide. He goes, homicide? Well, he said homicide like you and I would have said, well, I got in a fight, or we were just rowdy in class. Homicide, 15 years old. And I went, wow, we got a problem. And I saw then, and that's what leaned me away and made me walk away from, again, respectfully, from the Democratic Party, because they were not helping who they said they were supposed to be helping. So that's why I just dedicated my time helping at-risk kids going in, and we just had a great event last week in Newark, New Jersey, and you see some of these kids girls from the McGuire Air Force Base, military kids, kids from Newark, New Jersey, all around stressed areas. And you know what? Some not so stressed areas because the tax rate is so high now. And thank God the government, Donald Trump got involved to cut that back because both parents have to work now, one for the government and one for the family. And some of the kids at that latchkey time at 3 o'clock, they could get into trouble. So we opened the Boys and Girls Clubs for them. And I must say, this year we had one of our most successful events. And that is, I think, right along the lines of how good the economy is doing. They're freer to spend money and to help those in need. And in this case, the Boys and Girls Clubs, which are of New Jersey, which always do a great job.
Well, it sounds like something that everyone should get involved in, and obviously we'll encourage everyone, listening to put some money together. Especially this is the time of the year to do it. Is to make a donation, and Joe, we'll talk to you kind of off air about that too. And we'll, Noble Gold will definitely contribute, some type of donation. God
bless you. God bless
this
you.
This is the time to do
so
it.
Much.
Yeah. Well, and my CPA says it's a good thing too, so that doesn't hurt either. So no, I'm just kidding. Last question for you, Joe. Do you have a Donald Trump impression that you that's out there? Are you comfortable putting it together on the air, or is that an untouchable for you?
You know what? I don't, and I don't. Sometimes we will use the word huge, and that's always good and fun to use. But there are so many. I'll tell you, Darrell Hammond from SNL does the best Donald Trump, and then there's a guy named John DiDomenico who we bring him in the studio, and he comes in with the wig on. He comes in with the wig on and with the whole makeup, and it's hysterical, And it's okay to laugh and have fun with it, But you're right. I think because I'll go like today. We're talking with we're having fun and we're joking around, with the guys in the studio. But then we go serious and we're talking about with Bernard Kerik, Commissioner Kerik, about the Eddie Gallagher Navy situation. So a lot of the times it's more serious. So I haven't had really an opportunity to do the Donald Trump. But to your point, it's a good point you say, though, Colin. It may be because out of respect for we refer to the president, that I had not approached that. You know what I mean? But listen, if I could do Frank Sinatra, I guess I could do President Trump. But I'll have to work on it, man.
Well, maybe after you do it, you'll get the invite to the White House, and you'll get back to the fireplace room again.
Yeah. Hey, listen, by the way, we'll let you go. And thanks for taking the time. And we love the Trump coin 2020. Love this coin, a piece of artwork for sure. And thank you for your patriotism. But I was there. We were 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, a few weeks ago. White House. What does the president do? We get invited to go down. He celebrates the Italian American community. He goes, you know what? Right. To me, it's always Columbus Day. Thank you to all the Italians and the Italian Americans for their contribution to society. As an Italian guy from Jersey who's got no respect, you know what I'm saying? We got nothing. The president of the United States, that was so appreciated by the White House. Yeah. And Andrew Giuliani put that together, Rudy's son, and it was a great, great event there at the White House. Just showing respect to our community,
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic, Joe. Well, we really appreciate it. We appreciate everything you're doing, and I'll have a conversation off air about the Boys and Girls Club and making a donation, and definitely appreciate all your support for the president and Noble Gold, and looking forward to talking to you more in detail in the future.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you. Thank you so much, Colin. Brad, thank you so much. God bless America, guys, and Godspeed on all you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Talk to you later. Bye.
Beautiful. Thanks, Colin. Thanks, Brad. Great stuff, man. Thanks, boys. Thank you so much.
That's all for this episode of the Noble Gold Podcast. Keep building financial success between episodes by visiting noblegoldinvestments.com.